12 tribes of Israel, Bobo Shanti, Ethiopia Africa Federation, Rastafari Society of Kenya. Salute, Honorable Prince and Princesses, Emperors and Empress. Wakili Dansan Omari, Wakili Shadrack Wambui na sheria mtaani. Yama Nandi. Aya naye Wakili Madenge. Bless up. Yeah. Rastafari.
Yeah. One love.
No.
Rastafari.
Good morning, members of the Fourth Estate. My name is Wanjiko Waithera. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I work with Sheria Mtaani, and today morning we appeared before Honorable Justice Mwamuye for hearing of the main suit in this petition for legalization of cannabis for religious purposes for the Rastafari Society. And unfortunately, we were unable to proceed despite the petitioners being ready with their expert witnesses, for the reasons that NACADA made an application this morning to be enjoined as a regulator so that they can bring their input in the petition. And so the matter has been deferred up until next week on the 30th of January, when we shall be proceeding together with the 4th of February, and we'll be proceeding for the hearing of the main petition. We are hopeful when we come back next week that the court will be able to listen to us, listen to the input of members of the Rastafari community who continue to be victimized by state agencies in respect of violations against practicing of their religious rights. That is all. Thank you.
Since the year 2021, Sheria Mtaani na Shadrack Wambui and the Rastafari Society of Kenya have been before the High Court. We have been before different judges in a quest to fight for the Rastafari community to have their use of marijuana for religious purposes legalized. And today we are before my Lord Justice Mwamuye, who was pleased to allow NACADA, the National Drug Agency in our republic, to join the petition, to give us their input so that we have a holistic understanding of the issue that is at hand. And to that end, we will be before my Lord, as my sister has communicated, in the future to argue our petition, highlight our submissions, and in the fullness of time, we are confident that our petition will be allowed, and the members of the Rastafari community who have always appeared before court, as you can see, have always been supportive, have never lost faith, will be able to realize and practice their faith without fear of repression or retaliation from the state. We've had them arrested on several occasions. We've always assisted them, and we are almost nearing the end of this quest. My Lord has undertaken by the first quarter of this year, 2026, we will have a judgment, and we are very optimistic and hopeful. The freedom of religion, the freedom of expression, and the discrimination that has persisted against the Rastafari community will end. That is all from me.
And it's now 6 years of struggle for reasonable accommodation of the Rastafari so that they can also enjoy the freedoms and the rights that have been guaranteed to them under Chapter 4 of our Bill of Rights. Now, today, we were before court, thanks to an invitation we received from the court on the 18th day of November, 2025. Last year, while we were here, the court was pleased to set down clear dates to permit us the opportunity of presenting our case so that the court and the world can understand the worldview in which the members of the Rastafari Society of Kenya are looking at the Narcotic and Psychotropic Act vis-a-vis the Constitution of Kenya promulgated on the 27th day of August 2010. Now, the hope and expectation that we had of being heard today, the 14th and the 15th day of January, that is tomorrow, have since been vacated. The court has directed that the hope that we had of being heard today and tomorrow will not come to fruition. Instead, we will be heard on the 30th day of January and the 4th day of February 2026. This is for the simple reason that we have had an interference of the proceeding from NACADA. NACADA has sought the permission of the court to be a part of the proceedings, to also give their side of the story as to whether there are any health consequences with the use of marijuana. Well, it is within their right, it is well within their statutory mandate and obligation to also weigh and participate in these proceedings. For that reason, they have been permitted to participate, and the court has also had to interfere with the dates that the court had set aside for the delivery of the judgment in this matter. You will recall that initially the court had set the 12th day of March 2026 as the judgment date. But because of the involvement of NACADA and the reasonable justification of allowing them to put in their response, the court has instead set the 19th day of March 2026 as the date when the court will be delivering its judgment on this matter. Lastly, and before I rest, there has been concerns, and these concerns have been there since the year 2021 when we came before this honorable court, where police officers, upon seeing the images of these gentlemen and ladies fighting for their rights and presenting themselves without fear of victimization, we have had instances where police officers have singled out members of the Rastafarian Society of Kenya and attempted to arrest them and have them prosecuted for being in possession of marijuana, even in cases where they have not been found in possession of marijuana. Now, today we have highlighted that issue before the Honorable Court, and the court, being keen to balance the scales of justice, to allow members of Rastafari, including the spokesperson, Prophet Wambua, to also have an opportunity of giving their side of the story. The court has set very clear directives that if those cases persist, we will be presenting evidence before the Honorable Court by way of mentioning individual police officers, individual OCSs, individual members of the state who continue to stigmatize members of the Rastafari Society of Kenya in an attempt to also drag their names before this Honorable Court. So as I rest, police officers who are in the habit of victimizing members of the Rastafari Society of Kenya must be warned. Thank you. You must be warned that there is a live matter proceeding before the Honorable Court. That the court is aware of your acts of victimization and acts of abuse of office and power, where you have taken advantage of the law as it is currently is. A law that is archaic, a law that has already been overtaken to victimize members of this society. So for that reason, we will be calling upon any member of the Rastafarian Society of Kenya to present to us material evidence for the purpose of submitting it before the Honorable my Lord Justice Bahati Mwamuye, so that action can be taken against individual police officers that continue to victimize members of the Rastafarian Society of Kenya for participating in in their religious beliefs, for manifesting their religious beliefs, and for either meditating or reasoning together with others. So with those very few remarks, I'll call upon every member of the society, every member of the Rastafari Society of Kenya, that on the 30th day of January and the 4th day of February, let us converge and meet before my Lord Justice Mwamuye, so that we can have our day in court, so that the court can get to hear your story and get to understand the kind of historical injustices that you have had to endure for the duration of time this archaic law has been enforced. With those very few remarks, I will pave the floor to our patron, Mr. Danstan Omari, so that he can say a few words. Thank you. Watch out, police.
Well, to every Kenyan and to every person, the whole world, on behalf of our clans, the Rastafarian movement, on behalf of Sheria Mtaani, our wing that deals with matters on pro bono basis, we wish everybody a happy new year. Let me put it to rest that our clans are being oppressed pursuant to a law called the Narcotics and Anti-Drugs Act, Chapter 242 of the laws of Kenya. In that statutory provision, narcotics is allowed so long as it is prescribed by a medical doctor, by a dentist, a dental doctor, and by a veterinary doctor for the treatment of mental illness, for the treatment of the dental formula, and for treatment for domestic animals. That question is what we are pushing vis-a-vis the constitutional provision of respecting the culture of the people and Article 32 that talks of the sanctity of religion and the sanctity of religious celebrations. The Rastafari is part and parcel of this country. Article 32 provides for that nobody can interfere in the manner worship is conducted. The manner in which other faiths are conducting their prayers, their miracles, their manner of dressing, no police officer can interfere with that.
Yes.
And that is what we are invoking, that under Article 32 of the Constitution, the Rastafari cannot be discriminated.
Yes.
It is contrary to Article 24 of the Constitution that provides that discrimination based on religion, on creed, goes against Article 2 of the Constitution that says any law that is in contravention to the Constitution is null and void. And therefore, today we were prepared to proceed. NACADA, we do not believe that NACADA's application was filed in good faith.
Yes.
This is a matter that we brought to court 2021.
Yeah, man.
NACADA is an entity that was not created yesterday.
Yes.
They have known that this matter is in court. An application to be enjoined now is to derail the prosecution of this matter. But the learned judge has been understanding and allowed that we will proceed on the 30th and the 4th of January and 4th of February. Let us put to notice to the whole country.
Yes.
All marginalized groups are protected by the Constitution.
Yes.
All marginalized groups are protected by the country. Children, the disabled, women, widows, the minority. Here, the Rastafari fall under the class of the minority.
True.
The mainstream religious organizations have followers going to over millions. The fact that the Rastafarians have less members, they cannot be discriminated because of their numbers. The Rastafarians have not practiced their faith in a manner that is repugnant to morality and justice. That is the fundamental consideration, that any practice that is not repugnant to morality and justice, that practice must be allowed to proceed. The Rastafari encourage their children to go to school. Here we have a senior advocate, a member of the Law Society of Kenya,
Yes, sir.
who is going to apply for the position that has been advertised for the a judge of the Supreme Court if he has 15 years. So anybody trying to stigmatize, and anybody trying to stigmatize anybody on the basis of religion, that is a person out to cause problem in this country, because we must learn to tolerate every aspect of different shades of opinion in terms of faith. And we'll stand firm with the Rastafari to the point that the judge must look at the Bill of Rights as provided for in Chapter 4 of the Constitution, and nobody will stop these people from enjoying the fruit. So, see you on 30th of January and see you on 4th. We hope to proceed, and the country needs to deal with their marginalized groups in a manner that is tolerant, in a manner that allows them to practice their worship unhindered. Thank you very much, unless there's any question.